So George, thank you so much for coming in and taking part in this podcast. There's lots to get into. Um, but before we dig into this, I like to just take it back. I like to dig into the origin story. So tell me, George, what do I have to understand about your earliest years to get an understanding about the man that you are today?
So my earliest years, I was born here in England, and me and my family we moved to Corfu, Greece when I was like 6 years old, around there, age 6 or 7, and it was sort of hard moving there, because obviously it wasn't as hard, but it was at the same time big change. But yeah, so we moved there while I was 6 years old, and my dad decided to open a gym there. I eventually got into fighting over there in Greece. Won a lot of tournaments, championships, Greek championships. Then eventually went into like Europeans, worlds, amateur and stuff like that. And yeah, like that whole experience there, growing up in Greece, competing and stuff like that, helped a lot to make me the person I am now. Because I feel like the culture over there is completely different to the culture here. If that makes sense. So
In
it
what
helped me loads.
ways? In what ways is the culture different?
I feel like a lot of people are a bit more closer there. It's like, let's say when we had a gym there, it was like a pack. It was like a family. And when one was fighting, we were all supporting that one person. If you get what I mean, if that makes sense. In other ways as well, like small little traditions like uh, about the religion and stuff like that. Just following your religion, and just discipline. That helped a lot as well. Just a few things, but I feel like that helped me a lot to become the person I am now. So that little stage of growing up in Greece helped loads, and I'm really grateful of that because like let's say nowadays, like kids here, I guarantee they don't have the same childhood as countries like that because it's a bit more safe as well. You can do more things outside of school without really worrying. So it helped loads, and it was um, it was a good experience. And now obviously I've kept with my fighting throughout the years, and it's funny because talking about Greece, like I remember when it was me and my dad once, and we used to like go on a lot of walks where we used to live. It was a nice little island near the beach, um, in a small village. And I remember this was after my third Greek championship, so I won three in a row. Back then I was like 10 years old, and we were just walking there, and we ended up in this harbour. And we were just sitting there and like chilling, talking about life. And he asked me, he was like, you're doing really good in the sport. I wonder well, he asked me, what do you want to become? Do you want to take this far? Do you want to take it professionally and stuff like that? And I was like, but then I said to him, I want to be the best in the world in striking. Either it's, in Thai boxing, mixed martial arts, I just want to be the best in the world. Um, and I said it to him back then, and it's funny now because, all all fighters in this tournament, they've got this opportunity to compete in a tournament, win it, and get a contract to win championship. Once you win championship, you could actually prove that you're the best in the world. So that's why this tournament, it means a lot to me, and I've put a lot of work into it. So it's all added up to this moment, and it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, well, you mentioned your dad a couple of times, so
Yeah,
how why did he get into martial arts, and
he got
why
into
did he? Yeah.
martial arts. So he got into martial arts when he was young. So he used to live in New York with his parents. They used to live in Brooklyn, and he just wanted a goal. He wanted to set himself a target, something to like be committed to. And I think back then he started kickboxing
Mhm.
in America. He became state champion, and he just fell in love with martial arts. So since then, he's just always been involved in either kickboxing, boxing, Thai boxing, and it helped him a lot, man. Like he became one of the best coaches in Greece, and like I feel like as a person, everyone's gonna know him as Coach Sam. So
Yeah.
yes, yeah. So
How is it? How important to you is that relationship with your dad? You know, we see him in the videos. He's ringside. He's in your corner.
it's
Travels around
huge,
with
man.
you.
It's huge because like I'm so lucky because he's always like it's like when you're climbing up a ladder and like a little step snaps.
Mhm,
He like always puts his hand there if that makes sense.
mhm,
So every time I'm in a fight camp, every time I do something, and it's sometimes it does get tough, you know. And
mhm.
like I will push myself, but he's always there to push me that extra bit, you know, push me to limits that I've never been before. Just in general as well, not only you know in martial arts,
Mhm.
just in general life. Because you know sometimes you will in life have those times where you doubt yourself. You will have down times. You get what I mean? And
Mhm.
sometimes it's good to have that person there to just say to you, you know, you're fine. You know, you're doing well. Just to tap you on the back, just to say, you know, look, no, nothing's wrong. You know, like it might be a bad day today, but it's going to be a better day tomorrow. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
And he's that person that you know helps me with that sort of side of life, if that makes sense. And you know, so it's a massive relationship, and I'm very grateful to have him around. And you know, like I said to him years ago, I'm going to be the best in the world, and it's not only going to be me, but it's going to be us, me and him. I'm going to bring him with me.
Yeah. So 2 years ago, you take a break from Muay
Yeah,
Thai. You know, after your
correct.
win against Craig Coakley,
hmm
and you dipped your toe in. Well, more than dipped your toe in. You had 3 fights in MMA.
Yeah.
So can you, during those 2 year period, can you help fill in that gap? You know, what went on during those 2 years? And then let's start with, you know, how did your dad take that then? You know, how did your team and, you know, your immediate circle, this idea of you transitioning from Muay Thai
Yeah.
into MMA?
So it was obviously with the pandemic, times were a bit frustrated. So like obviously there was no fights coming up, and I was just thinking, you know, maybe try a new challenge. Why not? I was around a lot of MMA people, and I was thinking, you know, why not give it a go? Obviously, back then I was coming off the Craig Coakley win, and that was pretty big for my career. And so you know, obviously my team, Scott Robinson, they were a bit like, you know, you sure you want to do this and stuff like that. But I'm still young, so there's not really a loss giving that a go, giving you know another challenge into the unknown, you know, because like I've never done MMA before. I just started fresh 2 years ago, and my ground game weren't really, obviously, you know, not the same level as some guys. So I was just like, yeah, why not give it a go? You know, learn a few new things, and it actually did help me open up my arsenal a bit more. So like, focus on my boxing a bit more, focus on changing my style, changing stands, um, and just learning new martial arts because you know at the end of the day I'm a martial artist. I like
Yes. Yeah.
learning new things. You know, you shouldn't only be like, oh, I'm a Thai boxer, I'm going to stick to that. You should always want to learn new things and you know want to try new challenges. So yeah, it was good. It was good, but at the same time, I feel like now it's time to take over the Thai boxing scene properly. You know what I mean? Let you know show people what I'm really about.
Yeah. So just very quickly, you know, how did you were 2-1, right, during that,
2-1,
that
yeah,
how
correct.
did that go? What was the experience like? You know, because then
It was
were you
good.
previously fighting in 4 ounce gloves? In
No. So
that was
that
your
was
first time trying that. Okay,
yeah.
how was
That
that
was my first.
experience?
It was good. It was foreign, but you know, it was a good experience. Obviously, at start it was a bit awkward getting used to those gloves, and obviously changing my routine to like not only doing striking in the week, but doing other martial arts like jiu-jitsu, wrestling. So you've got to cover all them. And you know, it was overall it was a good experience. You know, and I feel like now with this tournament, I'm more cautious of those gloves. So I know, even though like in my last performance, it was a bit sluggish or sloppy, should I say, because I didn't know much about my opponent and couldn't really switch on. but I feel like I do have that extra benefit with the small gloves from that past experience with MMA.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, so timely then MTGP comes calling.
Yeah.
They mention this wonderful opportunity with one championship, this 8-man tournament, the 6-figure contract
Big.
to be won. You know, what was your reaction to that when the call came in?
It's funny because when that call came in, this was after my first MMA loss, and at the time, a few things weren't going as planned, like in life in general. And you know when you have those days where you're like, "Fuck, why is everything going wrong?"
Well, what wasn't going well in life in general?
Well, there are a few things like friendships. I ended up being in a serious car crash in Greece, and I ended up getting a bit messed up from that. And then just a few other things, not too big, but a few minor things.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, sometimes they will put you down, if you get what I mean. And like I said earlier, you know, a bad day doesn't last forever. And I got that call, and they called me, and I was just like straight away, like, you've got to take this opportunity. You know, this is a fighter's dream. You know, finding one championship, and not only finding one championship, but securing your financial game. You know, securing your family.
Sure.
You know, making
your
things,
career,
your career, making things a bit more easier. So I said to them straight away, you know, definitely doing it. Put me in.
Right.
Yes, I'm grateful.
So that leads us up to your quarterfinal that took place earlier this month in Sheffield. You put on a very confident performance. You got the victory against Luca Di Santo.
Mm-hmm.
Now that you've had the time to reflect and, you know, probably review it, you know, how did it feel being back in the Muay Thai ring? And what was the pressure like? You know, where was your head at?
It was good. I'm confident. So in this tournament, I know from now I'm going to win this tournament, no matter what. But I feel like there was a bit of ring rust in there because obviously my last fight was MMA in March, and it was a long camp, 12-week camp. So you'd expect things to go right in the fight, but when it came to like the first round, for some reason I felt a bit rusty. I don't know if it's like because I couldn't switch on or something like that, but I didn't feel quite myself or quite, you know, the way I wanted to fight. So, I'm like with my performance, I'm happy. You know, I won every round, but I know I could do much better. If that makes sense, you know, I could perform. Like I could beat every guy in this tournament in good fashion. So, I'm happy about it. But
so what is it? What do you need to? What does it need to I was gonna say turn you on? Well, you said that you didn't feel like you were turned on.
These fights now, this fight now with Bendon, these are the fights that switch me on. These are the fights where when I'm in the changing rooms, I switch on. When I'm in there, I switch on. Because if I'm not switched on, he's going to switch me off. If that makes sense.
Oh, absolutely.
That's the thing. I've been doing this sport for so long. It's hard sometimes to get nervous, as crazy as it sounds, for certain fights. Yes. You know, when you have three different opponents, and then you know you go in there with someone that you don't really know of, it's a bit hard to switch on before the fight. Does that make sense? But this fight now, you know, I guarantee you, I will be switched on. I will get that feeling, and I feel like I'm going to peak come fight night. So I'm excited. I'm excited now. Even talking to you about it, like I'm excited for this
Raring
fight.
you up to go, yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. So I feel like it's all going to come together. You know, it's been a long camp since June, but I feel like these next two fights, it will come together.
So, I mean, I was, you know, obviously in Sheffield as well. We did the post-fight interview in the ring together. And Nathan Bendon also came away with the victory against Matthias Funtukos.
Yeah.
What did you make of Nathan's fight? Who will be your next opponent? 12th of November at the O2 Indigo. Was it what you expected? Did seeing him win in that fashion, did it put more pressure on you? I know it excites you. How did it make you feel?
I don't really feel pressure. Excitement is the right word, but his performance, I sort of expected him to fight like that. He doesn't really.
Okay.
I've known Nathan for a while now,
Mm-hmm.
personally, and obviously, in the Thai boxing scene,
Professionally, yeah.
Professionally. So I know what he brings, and I knew he was going to bring that fight night. Obviously, I know he could bring a bit more, and I know he's going to bring a bit more against me because, he knows I'm a better opponent than his last one. But that French lad gave him a good fight, and it was close. It could have went either way, really. But yeah, it was a good performance. I know what he brings. I knew he was going to bring that to him, and I know what he's going to bring to me fight night.
So did your dad and your team, did you immediately start working on a game plan? Have you rewatched that fight, and are you starting to put the pieces together?
Yeah, sort of a game plan. I mean, you can't make too much of a game plan because, with those little gloves, you could get punched and then it all goes out the window, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I feel like I know so much about him, so much how he fights.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It will all come out naturally fight night. And obviously, yeah, we do our homework and stuff like that. But it's like I said, not only me that knows him throughout his fighting career, it's my coaches as well, which is helpful. So yeah, there is a little game plan, but yeah, I'm planning to just put on a good performance, really.
So let's touch into that a little bit. A lot of time people are asked, did that go according to your game plan? What is your game plan going into this fight? What does game plan mean to you?
Just obviously the main thing when I go into a fight is I want to put on a really good performance. So I want people telling me after, gee, that was a good performance. Everyone was on their feet and stuff like that. But for me, when we make a game plan, I want to go in there and just get things as right as possible. Obviously, sometimes it's really hard at this high level, but if I could get the game plan right on fight night, then I'm winning the fight 100%. In fact, I'm not only winning the fight, I'm probably beating the best in the world at my weight division, if you get what I mean. So a lot goes into it, but at the same time, like I said earlier, you don't want to go too deep into a game plan because it could go, you could get punched, anything could happen and it could just completely change. But the good thing is with my team, we like doing plan A's, B's, and C's. So what
backup contingency plans? Yeah,
exactly. What would you do on the back foot? What would you do if you're a bit hurt?
Yeah.
So I feel like that's a big part of what my team do right. So I feel like a lot of coaches should do that as well. Not only make one game plan, but make a few just in case the first one doesn't work.
Mm-hmm. So you mentioned you know him well, throughout the years and on the circuits. So what is your message to him, given that you will both be squaring off to each other? And
there's not me. So me and Nathan, we don't really have bad blood. There's nothing really personal or anything like that. He's just in my way, and I'm in his way. And we've got to settle it like men. We've got to settle business in there. But he is good. He's got good experience. He's got a lot of experience. He's been around for a while.
Yeah,
but he's not good enough to beat me. He's not good enough. And come fight night, I will show that. I will show that I know him too well.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it. There's the only message I could say to him is be prepared, have a good camp, and may the best man win. That's about it. I'm a professional. I don't like talking a lot of big game and stuff like that, especially when I'm pretty sound with my opponent. So may the best man win.
Yeah. And I think a testament to your parents and to your upbringing and that, you know, that
Yeah,
warrior
yeah,
spirit.
exactly. Not only warrior spirit, but I'm a gentleman as well. You know,
Yeah.
like I'm I'm humble in defeat. I'm humble, you know, when I win. I'm humble in general. So I take everything in a good way, in the right way, you know.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's all I've got
All
to
right.
say about him.
All right. Before we move on, I'm just going to quickly. My kids are outside. 1 second. I'll be back in 1 minute.
Yeah, yeah, no, no. How's it going?
Back. Kids are all set. Kids are all set.
Happy days.
Okay. So and you drove up to Liverpool. Is it up to Liverpool or down to Liverpool for you?
Up to Liverpool for
You
me.
drove up to Liverpool.
Yeah,
Okay. Like the rest of us.
yeah,
To
yeah,
watch the other two semi-finals. So there was a
yeah.
big there was a big upset when Amro Ghanem lost to Natty Dodds. And me
Yeah.
personally, I say a big upset because Amro is a very close friend of mine. So it was actually, you know,
Oh, okay.
it's never nice to see, you know, one of your close ones lose a fight.
Yeah. Huh.
But congratulations to Natty Dodds. You know, what do you know of Natty, and what did you think of his performance?
You know, I actually thought that he was going to win. You know,
Yeah.
obviously Amro's a good fighter, but I don't want to sound disrespectful, but I don't think he's fought anyone from the UK Thai boxing scene that's a high level that should belong in that tournament. On the other hand, me and Natty fought when we were juniors, and he actually beat me.
Oh
So
wow.
yeah,
So that's
yeah.
a bit
So
of
we
history
fought.
there. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So we fought in Greece actually, and yeah, he beat me. So I know he is a really good, good fighter. He's explosive. He's got good technique, and I thought it was going to go that way, but I didn't know he was going to knock him out in the first round. That was pretty crazy. But at the same time, with those gloves, you never know. It just takes one punch. So that was a good performance from Natty, and I'm looking forward to what he's got to bring against Craig.
Yeah, so the other quarterfinal featured Craig Oakley.
Yeah,
So if you're just tuning in now, it was who you fought on your last Muay Thai fight 2 years
exactly. Yeah,
ago. You got the
yeah,
W. And afterwards, Vinny Shawman, shout out to Vinny, pulled you in the ring. Were able
yeah,
to, to say a few words. What are
yeah.
your thoughts of a possible fight with Craig? What did you think of his performance? And
Solid performance. At the start, I feel like the Swedish guy was fighting a good fight. Scoring with good kicks. But obviously, yeah, Craig did win that fight. Vinny Shawman, yeah, putting this in the ring. He knows it's unfinished business. Everyone does. That fight on that night could have went either way. He could have won. I personally think I won. A lot of people from my team and outsiders thought I won, but it's unfinished business. All that doesn't matter now. All that's in the past. It's who wins these next two fights now. It's like obviously the semi-finals. Like my focus is on Bendon. Tough
yeah,
fighter, but I would love to have Craig in the final. I would love it because it is unfinished business, man.
yeah,
And the difference is on that night, if I would have lost, I would have taken it as a gentleman. I would have been like, fair play, gave him my hand. Like, to be fair, like he did eventually take it in a good way, but like a lot of his team, they were being a very unprofessional and disrespectful, and
probably caught up in
at
the
the end,
heat of the emotion, right?
caught up in the heat. And you know what? That's fighting. I don't really care, but yeah, that's why it's unfinished business. Me and him in the final, I feel like it's bigger than him and Bendon. And there's more to it. There is more to it,
Yeah.
and I'm looking forward to winning this fight and then hopefully having him in the final so I could put the nail on the coffin and end it once and for all.
Yeah. Well, since that fight 2 years ago, I mean, even you said that you've changed a lot.
I've changed a lot.
You've matured a lot.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, go ahead.
sorry to disturb, but
No,
like I when I fought him, ageism and stuff like that. I was still young, but now, 2 years, I have matured in different ways. Taking my training much seriously, outside of camp, inside of camp, um, grown a bit. Like a lot of things have changed, even mentally. So I feel like I'm a different guy now, much different guy to that night. So I'm looking forward to it. Looking forward to the semis, and then hopefully, me and him will meet in the finals.
How important is the mental aspect of fighting for you? The mind game, the mindset.
It's everything. It's everything, really. It's probably 95% of the game. If you're not completely there, you will get found out, and you just need to be locked in camp. Not only fight now, but in camp in general. You need to believe in yourself. You need to believe in the process, and you need to be ready as much mentally as physically. So it does play a big game. I've been in fights before where I've not been mentally there, and I've almost been found out. So it does play a big game, a big part of the game. So probably 95% of the game. So this time, going into this tournament, even though it's been a long camp, I've been mentally there. I've been locked in into one goal, and that's winning the tournament and getting that contract.
So do you thrive under pressure? Do you do well? Because you had your quarterfinals, right? And then now we're into the semi-finals, and then there will be the finals. And with each different stage progression, there's a bit more on the line. There's a bit more eyes on it. There's a bit more, So it is. How are you preparing yourself for that? For that mentally.
I'm in a state of literally getting ready for war now. I cut a lot of things off in my camp. A lot of distractions. I'm just ready for war, man. That's it. There's not much more to say about that. You either got to be prepared with that mindset, or it's just not going to work the right way. If you get what I mean. So me and my team, we've been working hard. I've been working really hard. I've been pushing myself, and I'm ready to kill. I'm ready to fucking get in there and take what's mine. Take that win, show people what I'm about, and then get people to put respect on my name. Because people still don't quite realize, I feel, how good I am, even though I beat some top level guys. So after these 2 wins, they will put respect on my name, 100%.
Yeah, and just sticking with this mindset topic, what do you find most challenging in a fight camp mentally?
There's a few things, injuries, illnesses. Dealing with injuries, illnesses. It's never gonna a fight camp will never go as you want it to, as it's planned. As you want it to be. You're not going to be 100% realistically throughout the camp, but it's all in here. If you're constantly putting yourself down because of an injury or let's say anything else, it's not going to do you any good. So you need to be. I feel like you need to be prepared for a camp and then be prepared for the fight as well. There's 2 different things, and overall I've enjoyed this camp. I feel like that's the main thing as well, enjoying the process. Because let's be honest, you're not always going to be a fighter, really.
Right.
Bro, you've got up to 33, 35 push, and then that's it. So you've just got to enjoy every moment as it comes. Enjoy who you're being around, like your coaches, your family. Well, mate, let's say my dad, let's say these moments with my dad now, they're not going to be here forever. Him holding hands for me, him telling me, giving me good advice, giving me good life lessons. You just got to enjoy that moment, and each camp you've got to enjoy it. And I feel like that's what I've mastered in the last 2 years as well. Just enjoying the process, enjoying the camp, and just going with it.
Beautifully said. And for many, that
Yeah,
takes a lifetime to learn. It is
exactly.
about the
Yeah,
journey, and just very, as a mindfulness coach,
yeah,
when I'm working with, especially with fighters, it's not so much in the ring, but it's like,
out the
let's
ring.
help
Yeah,
you, let's help you enjoy the process. Because
exactly.
if you're not enjoying, the 6 weeks leading up to the fight, then what's the point really?
But even fight night as well, because I see fighters sometimes on fight night, and they get so nervous to the point where they're not actually enjoying that experience. But
Yeah.
you've got to say to yourself, you've put yourself into this position that you said at the start, I want to do this.
Mm-hmm.
So you might as well enjoy that experience,
Yeah.
even if it doesn't end in the way you want it to end. You might as well enjoy that experience because you put yourself in that position in the first place. If that makes
Yeah.
sense. So let's say me, like I said years and years ago to my dad, oh yeah, I want to be the best in the world. I've got to enjoy every process of that, even if it's bad or good. I've got to appreciate the good times and the bad times with it. And I feel like that's what fighters need to master as well. Enjoy that actual moment, even in camp and on fight night. So, it plays it plays a big role. I've seen it a million times, like a lot of guys, even girls, they're like getting so nervous. And, after the fight, they're like, oh, thank God that's done. You shouldn't be like that though, because it's only at the end of the day, it's only 5 rounds. Then you're going back to your normal life. Then Mondays,
Yeah.
back to normality. So why don't you just enjoy every bit of that moment while it's there?
Yeah.
And it probably turned out better, won't it?
Yeah, and it
If
seems
it's
like got a
if that makes sense.
wonderful grasp of it. And I think,
Yeah,
again, coming from the perspective of a mindfulness coach, it's even the night before or the day of the changing room, that worrying about the fight,
yeah,
you're telling it's almost as if you're living the fight then. And so the fight or flight chemicals, which are the cortisol and the adrenaline,
yeah,
you're pumping them into your body as if you were in the fight then, which
mm.
in a fight is great. But, the night before when you're trying to sleep or when you're, preparing in the changing
It's all
room.
good. Yeah,
Yeah, because you're
yeah,
depleting your
yeah.
levels of the stuff which in a fight or flight situation is excellent.
Exactly. Yeah,
But if you're microdosing yourself with these chemicals before, then you're eating away of that, and if you learn how to regulate it, if you learn how to, not be so worried and so stressed, which is actually quite normal for most fighters, but there
yeah,
are techniques that you can do that
mm.
that allow you to be more in the present and less thinking, oh no, what happens if, and worrying and having anxiety about an upcoming event. What if you could do something to limit that, to reduce it, so that you can bring your best self into the ring and try and, in that moment, develop
100%.
these states of flow where you're,
Yeah,
being your best self versus worrying about what if he does this and what is my coach going to think and what if I
yeah,
lose, which are normal thoughts. Having worked with many
yeah.
fighters, these are natural
It's
thoughts that
normal,
will come up for everyone, but it's how you then interpret those thoughts and how you deal with it. And it seems that you're wise beyond your years,
Yeah,
in having maybe all
exactly.
that
It's
experience in your youth, all those competitions being starting at 6 years old, that
yeah,
at least this advantage that you have now on the mental side, where you can embrace the fight and enjoy the journey
yeah,
versus it being
exactly.
something that's daunting and you just want to get out of the way.
It's natural. It's natural to be a bit nervous. You get what I mean? It's natural to be nervous before
Yeah.
a fight, but before the whole process. But if you could turn that nervous energy into excitement, and then that negative energy into positive energy, I guarantee it will turn out better. Not only the result, but even your performance.
Yeah.
So, that's if I had to give any advice to like any young fighters and stuff, coming up, all I've got to say is just enjoy the moment because it's not going to last forever. You're not going to be a fighter forever.
Yeah.
It's only 5 rounds or 3 rounds. It's only one night. So just
Yeah.
enjoy that moment because you've been training for 6 weeks, 5 weeks, I don't know, 3 weeks for that actual moment. So
Yeah.
That's, that should be your moment, you
Yeah.
know. So it's
It's
important.
interesting. Yeah. So just a couple of questions before we round this off. Quite often, or we hear of fighters in boxing or Muay Thai. They had a rough childhood, and they on the streets, and they came and they found it.
Yeah,
That absolutely wasn't the path for you. But just in your
no.
mind, what is a fighter in your definition?
Oof. That's a good question, actually. um, a fighter, you're fighting for something. Let's say me, I'm a fighter. I'm fighting for something like, I suppose, legacy. It's a big. The main thing with a fighter is legacy. Like money, fame, all the rest. That's a bonus. But at the end of the day, you want to be remembered as someone like. Obviously, in general life, whatever you do, a lot of people like. Personally, me, I want to be remembered as someone, and I feel like a fighter. That's the most important bit of being a fighter is leaving something behind for others. Like let's say eventually when I've got kids and stuff like that, I've got bouts to show them, I've got achievements to show them. I've got a legacy to show them. And I feel like that's probably the main print of a fighter is legacy. Yeah, good question though. I've never been asked that before. It's a hard question, but I
Yeah, well,
feel like
let's.
we're all I feel like we're
Yeah,
all fighting for a legacy. To leave
yes.
something behind. And to help others as well. Like you said earlier, I didn't have a bad childhood. I was guided in the right way. Luckily I had good parents. My dad was my coach. He was always right next to my side.
Hmm.
But others, like others have it hard, man. Like others have it. They don't have people like that to be right next to them. And I feel like eventually one day, when all this is done, when I'm finished with my fighting and eventually I'm a coach or something like that, I could help people like that. I could
Absolutely,
guide them. I
absolutely.
could
Yeah.
guide them. I could guide them and give them, a goal to achieve. So yeah, a fighter, like I said earlier, the main thing is legacy, and then all the rest giving back to
And
people that
helping
helped you
others.
on the yeah, and helping others.
Beautiful. Well, last questions from me, and it's actually one of the traditional questions I ask on the podcast. What
Yeah,
matters most to you?
living a life where every single day I'm enjoying what I'm doing. Not only that, but having the people that I love the most around me, healthy, you know, healthy, comfortable, and that's about it, man. I'm a simple guy, really. I don't really want much. Obviously, eventually, I would want to be famous and rich one day. Like every single fighter would. But at the moment, like not only at the moment, but in general, I want to live each day by doing what I love and having the right people around me, having the people I love, and that's the thing, like that's why lately I've been in such a positive mindset because I left my job like 3 years ago, just committed purely to fighting and coaching, and that's how it's been. Every single day I've been doing what I enjoy, what I love, and yeah, I'm grateful.
Well, 12th of November at the O2 Indigo. I'll be there ringside.
Let's get it.
Uh, wishing you all the best, and
Appreciate
best
that,
of
my friend.
luck. And thanks so much for doing the podcast. And we'll catch up on the 12th for sure.
Yeah, it was really good talking to you, my friend, and enjoy it. Enjoy the show, and yeah,
Absolutely.
I'm getting that win. I'm getting that win in all means necessary.